Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Been a couple of weeks since I've seen you folks, right? Or since you've seen me. Kind of had some nice weather. Been busy working, of course, and you know, there's been some delays lately, I found anyway, in shipping. You know, we're gonna get that sometimes. No reason to get too bent out of shape, but that's why you guys haven't seen me. Normally I upload every single weekend. So today, what do I got? Another smart home tech item. This is another security camera. It's just amazing. These, I mean, folks, if you have an apartment, home, business, whatever the case may be, whatever your budget is, there's really no excuse nowadays not to have a little element of peace of mind and protection. Another smart camera. This is a pan-tilt battery operated solar camera. So this is the first one for me. I've had solar cameras in the past. You know, for my situation, there's not a lot of areas I can use a solar camera. I do have the perfect spot for this. I'll post a couple pictures on Instagram and Fat Cat Collections Facebook page just to show you guys where I mounted this. But this is going to be fantastic just because there's certain areas around your house where you may want to have a camera but you don't have power. Of course, solar cameras and battery powered cameras, there is a little bit of a delay in when you access the camera. And again, a lot of that depends on your network, but it's always going to be a little bit slower than connecting to a standard hardwired camera or a powered camera that's inside your house. Remember, depending on your network, depending on if you have an outside access point, all this is going to be factors in how well these work. So just going to keep that in mind. If you are looking to add cameras around your property and you do have a distance between your router inside the house or your access point and the camera, that's going to kind of determine how well these work. Fortunately for me, I have an outdoor access point, so my whole backyard is blanketed. This is going to work just fine. So let's kind of keep this somewhat short today because you guys have seen my videos before on smart home tech, and I just try to fill you guys in with the most important features, right? And of course, what's the most important feature? The price. So this is done by made by a company called, I just had it here. Sometimes these Chinese companies, they reach out, and a lot of times their products, they have different products underneath their, I guess their like parent company or whatnot. But this is by, this is Rebluum. This is R-E-B-L-U-U-M. I know a lot of the names sometimes are a little bit creative, right? But I don't know, does it even say this on here? It says it on the, oh, there it is, right? Giant on the side of the box, right? So there it is. So as far as price on this, let me just hit you guys with the price first. The company does have some features I am going to mention per their request, but I always like to consult the Amazon listing because that's where you guys are going to buy this, and that's, you know, what, you know, where you're going to get the information, right? And that information should be accurate. So $60 with a 5% off coupon today. That's pretty competitive. You know, a lot of these cameras, and I might sound like I repeat myself in a lot of videos, but a lot of these price points are pretty competitive nowadays. You know, in the past, if you go back a couple of years, you paid about $60 for just a pan tilt, let alone, and that's just like a powered one, like or a plug-in version. This has got the solar panel and of course the built-in battery. So that's a pretty incredible value. Was that you're going to get it for about $55, you know, give or take with your tax, depending on where you live. It is an indoor-outdoor camera, although, you know, this is pretty big. You'd have to have a pretty large home, I think, with like some really high ceilings. We're going to put this somewhere where it's not going to be noticeable. You know, if you're living in, like, you know, a giant house with lots of wall space, this could blend in on a really large wall or corner. In a home like mine with beige walls, this is going to stick out like a sore thumb. I don't recommend you put this inside your house, but again, to each their own, right? Of course, we have the box. And I'll throw some pictures up here while this video is playing. They do give you, like this, a 24-hour video surveillance sticker. Sometimes, you know, it's just a sticker, but every little bit, every thief, every person looking to do wrong, you know, may have a different skill set, different comfort levels, and just something simple like this, they might say, hey, you know what, I might be being watched, especially in America with so many guns, you know, and you guys know I'm a gun fan myself, you know, it might make somebody think twice. You know, they might be seen, next thing you know, some crazy dude comes out with a gun and, you know, does some harm, right? So good that they include the sticker, instruction manual, which we all know I never read. Then we have the solar panel. Let's see what this looks like, because some cameras I reviewed, the solar panel is rather large. This is nice and thin, which is good because, let's face it, if you are going to be mounting this, which you most likely will be mounting this on the side of your house, you know, the solar panel, you know, depending on your, I don't know, depending on your style and, you know, your I guess, taste when it comes to cosmetics on your house, you know, sometimes like security camera might look very industrial, and not everybody's going to want that look. You do have to be kind of creative in how you mount these and where you mount these, but if you are putting this against some white trim, I don't know, a little camera, these little small, discrete cameras, I don't think really have quite the presence, the visual presence that a larger camera does. I like people to see mine, right? So you do get your bracket. I will say that I don't like these brackets very much. These are extremely large, and I think they can do better. These are kind of universal. They're almost like what you find on like a camera mount. And what I don't like about these, they just kind of stick out. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is for the solar panel. So, which is kind of, I don't know. Let's see how it looks. It's pretty standard. I mean, you need some way to mount it. I kind of wish they would come out with something a little bit different, but I do understand why they do this, because you need to kind of adjust this towards the sun. Once this is mounted, it is noticeable. Like, this is something you're going to see. I think if your position is somewhere maybe on the front of your house, maybe you can put this off to the side. Again, it's going to be totally dependent on where the sun's coming from. You might even get away with taking this off and mounting it against the side. You might even put this on top of your roof. Again, it just kind of depends on your situation. But again, you get the solar panel. Here's the camera mount bracket. So this is pretty straightforward. You basically screw this to the wall, and then this is going to just slide in like so. You'll take the camera, slide it on, and it'll click into place. I'm not going to do that yet until I mount it, right? You have a couple high gain antennas, pan, tilt. You do have, let's see what you got. You get the reset button on the bottom, and it looks like micro SD card for recordings. It doesn't look like they give you the micro SD card. No, they don't. That's unfortunate. You do get a template for mounting, looks like both the solar panel mount and, of course, the camera mount. This is kind of handy. It's a sticker. You'll just align this on wherever you want, the surface you want to mount it, and you have the perfect drilling points. I never really use those. I basically just take the bracket, hold it up, kind of eyeball it, get one screw in, then kind of gently mount the camera on there, kind of soft mount the camera, and then go ahead and screw in the other screw. So again, depending on, it's not rocket science, install it how you want. And you do get the, looks like the charging cable, USB-C. This you're only going to use if you are going to plug this in. So keep in mind, you don't have to use the solar panel on this. You can buy this, and if you have an area where, let's say you have an outlet in your overhang, you can plug this right into a USB adapter. But, you are buying a battery-powered camera. Kind of nice to have it use the solar panel. You use the battery, use the features that you're buying it for and paying the price for, right? One thing I do like, though, let's say you're not really too concerned with the solar panel or the battery, and you're like, I'm just going to hardwire them. Reason why I might convince you to use the solar panel is that, let's say you have a power failure. Let's say you live in some area where you experience a lot of power failures, maybe for some certain days. At least with the solar panel and the battery, you're guaranteed that this is going to be recording. Now, you may not be able to access it if your network doesn't have a battery backup, but with the onboard micro SD card, you'll be able to actually have the recordings at least still obtainable, right? You'll be able to go back once you get network connection again and power for your rest of your network. You'll be able to go back and look at that. So at least you'll have some kind of evidence if you need it. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty straightforward, standard design. Let's talk about the specifications. This is what the company wanted me to mention to you guys. So, okay, and a lot of these are going to be kind of redundant because most cameras have the same features. So it does have solar energy. Obviously, I mentioned that it can provide uninterrupted power supply. We know what solar panels work. I'm just going to pick the ones that are important here. Use the app to remotely control and view. That's standard. That goes without saying. You have motion detection. That's on every camera for the most part, or at least most of the ones I reviewed, not all of them. Human body detection function. It says detects intruders and prevents false positives. Those work, but not as well as they state. Again, this one hasn't been tested yet, but I know based on my experience reviewing cameras, they're all very similar. You have 3 megapixel resolution. It can detect, there's a little bit of a language barrier here, but it does say here it can also detect at night to protect property. So what they mean by that is that it has night vision, right? It is waterproof. That's what they state. I don't like the word waterproof. Nothing is waterproof. It's water resistant. They don't list on their information the rating, but I find that rating to be kind of loose. I've had cameras with or outdoor solar lights with a IPv7, I think, or IP7 rating. You know, some have been great for years, others have leaked. So it really depends on that quality, and only time tells that, right? So that's what they said. I'm just going to read you now right off the Amazon listing. It has, what's important, a 97 milliamp battery. It has a full 2K resolution, 360 pan tilt. I don't think this is 360. This is going to, yeah. So you get close to 360, probably like 359. It doesn't continue to rotate all the way around. If you rotate all the way to one side, you will have to go back and let the camera take its time to return back to maybe your monitoring position. It says here the AI-powered human detection will prevent 90% of false alarms. That I wish I could tell you whether it does or doesn't, but a lot of this stuff tends to take a lot of time to test. I have a lot of cameras. You guys have seen the Rebluum cameras I reviewed, and I find that you always get false alarms, always, right? So we will see how this works. And again, I always come back and put a, you know, I'll put a comment in the comment section. If you guys have any questions, of course, you find this video and you're like, oh, well, I want to know about the AI, you know, human detection. You know, drop a comment, and if I've tested it by then, I'm more than happy to help you guys out. I answer all comments, right? What else here? You have 90 degrees of vertical rotation. It has multi-alarms and spotlights and siren. I don't use any of that. The siren, basically, if it detects motion, it'll go off. I don't like the idea of a camera possibly bothering my neighbors for false alarms. Again, it'll just depend on how well that human detection works. In all honesty, I think the alarm feature you'd only use if you live somewhere kind of maybe out somewhere in the open where you don't have a lot of neighbors. And if it does go off, it's really just kind of be a kind of trigger to scare maybe a potential intruder. This just could annoy a neighbor, right? And we don't want to do that. The spotlight function is kind of nice. I know I use mine. If you're going to mount the camera somewhere, it's kind of nice to have that extra spotlight function. That functions just like a motion detection light on the front of your house. That's pretty cool. And what else? Looks like you can do family sharing. They say after the sale service. We'll see how great that is. And has a 1-year warranty. Says here has 365 days warranty and 60 days after sale service. So I guess if you buy this and you wait 30 days, you know, you can. I don't know about that. I found most companies on Amazon that are selling stuff, if you have a problem, even a year after the fact, generally they're like, yeah, we can try to help you. You know, most companies will try to do their best to take care of the customer. They're not going to be like, oops, sorry, 61 days, we can't help you. But again, that's between you and them if you decide to buy this. But overall, though, I can wholeheartedly recommend really any of the products like this coming out, because ultimately they all work. Nobody's really making anything that I've reviewed of all the cameras that is just absolutely garbage. You know, they all work. Now, the only thing that I wonder about is, can you replace the battery? And they do have a sticker on here that says, you know, I don't know, they're showing a drill on top, like drilling into the top. And I think what they mean by that is when you go ahead and put the bracket on, don't be drilling a screw down to the top here, because they don't want you to penetrate the battery. So I'm not sure why they put a couple screw holes on the top. They probably give you, let's see what they got here. Yeah, very odd. I definitely don't like that. They don't give you any kind of set screws on the top of there. I thought maybe there's some just kind of lock it down, but you don't really need it because this has a couple retention clips that when you slide this on, it's going to click into the bracket. So I'm not really sure what the point of that is. Makes no sense to me why they would include a couple holes on here and then give you the warning as to not put a screw through the top. That makes no sense at all. But just kind of keep that in mind. Just click it in, it'll be fine. It's not going to fall off. That's about it, folks. I want to thank this company for their generosity. Again, Rebluum, I think I'm saying that right, for their generosity and collaborating with Fat Cat Collections. I know you guys, again, watching me for a while, have seen me review tons of cameras. And at the end of the day, I always recommend you buy a camera that, you know, they all look pretty similar. They all work really well. I really recommend you buy a camera that fits into your budget. And if you are going to add some cameras, to buy cameras that really not only fit to the budget, but also try to maintain the same brand of camera. So if you're going to buy one camera, you say, yeah, you know, I want to have three, or let's say you want to add 3 cameras to your house, right? I don't recommend you go ahead and buy like 3 different brands. Then you have to open up different apps. Try to keep everything under one roof if you can. But I think this is a fine camera. I'm actually going to install this today. I have an area in the back that has kind of a standard non-pan tilt camera, and I'd like to mount this. It's kind of up on a pole. This is going to be a great addition to my backyard where I can really kind of get parts of that backyard that I can't get with a standard camera. What I may do with this down the road is I may paint this. This is something I think that companies should also make. Companies like this, they make them white. I understand why they do, because most houses have white trim, but there's a lot of houses nowadays that have like darker trim. And there's also, areas where like, well, I'm gonna mount this, it's gonna be on a dark fence, right? Like a mocha colored fence. So this is gonna really stand out. I would, in this case, kind of like this to blend in a little more. I think having a white version and a black version would be kind of nice. Very easy to spray paint this. What I'd probably do is just mask off kind of the sphere that is on the rotation part of it, right? If I'm saying that right. And just kind of mask off a few things here and paint maybe the body of the camera black or maybe like a brown, kind of blend in with the fence a little more. But again, that kind of contradicts if you want somebody to see it, then out in the open like this, bright white is going to show up really nice against a dark background. But again, that just depends on your personal taste and where you might want to mount this. I also failed to mention that it'll support up to 128 gig micro SD card. I do highly recommend, if you are going to buy any security camera, whether it be this brand or another brand, go ahead and get yourself the maximum size SD card. 128 gigs on continuous recording will get you, again, depending on resolution, but on like a 2K resolution, probably going to get you about 24 hours of record time on a continuous loop. It's nice to have a couple days. So again, this is 128. If you buy this, get a 128 gigabyte card. They're not that expensive. If you get a different brand, buy the maximum size card. You will thank me later. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day. Link is always in the description, and take care.